Don't know. Get comfy.
I'm going.
Mm-hmm. Would you like me to start?
Yes, I think you should.
Okay. I'm LaShawn White, wife to Antonio White.
I'm Antonio White. This is my wife, LaShawn. We've been married for 7 years. This year this will make 8. I'm not you, of course, I'm sure. See, we met at George Mason University in the year 2000. No, that's not 2000. I'm sorry, it was 99.
Get it right.
99 is when we met. We met at the field house at the time, which is now we call it the rec. But we met, I was coming from football practice and she was playing intramural basketball. We were introduced by one of her intramural basketball coaches, Sheldon. And from there, we kind of just moved from there. I think I actually was playing basketball with her in my football pads and cleats on the court. Thereafter, we remained friends for a while until she decided to change her life and do something different. I'll let her tell that story.
This is version 1. Continue.
I don't know. What else is there?
You got that partially right. Not all the way right.
Sure.
I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
We did meet at the field house
Okay.
playing basketball, but you left out the part where I played you one-on-one
And lost.
and whooped
And lost.
that.
She lost. She shoots like Bill Cartwright.
And I was irresistible ever since.
There's some truth to that. Some. No, it's a lot of truth to it.
So yes, we met at the field house. I played basketball. We played a one-on-one game. My recollection was that I won
You lost.
the game. His recollection is that I lost. So that's up in the air for debate. Ever since that day, I always had my eye on T. White. That was his nickname, by the way, at the time.
How, I don't know, but it just became my name.
So ever since that day, I remember looking for him on campus. I was kind of a stalker at that point.
That's bad to admit.
I actually had a close friend who I considered a brother who played football with Tony. And I used to have to ask him all the time, like, where's your boy? I haven't talked to him. You know, because he had his own thing going on at that time. That wasn't me, by the way. Well, you tell that part of the story. I'll leave that up to you. But nonetheless, I stalked Tony. And every once in a while, we would run into each other. This particular year, Tony was online for a fraternity. And I guess I shouldn't have said that on camera. Okay. He was pledging, whatever, if that's worse. But nonetheless, he was missing in action on and off. So after that first time, I hadn't seen him for a period of time. And we ran into each other. I lived in Waldorf, Maryland. We went to school in Fairfax, Virginia. And he happened to come to one of the restaurants that I worked at. And that was probably the second time since that time that I had seen Tony. So it was interesting how our friendship began. We started spending a lot of time together and became very good friends. He would say that I was not very forthcoming with my feelings for him.
She wasn't.
I was. I might have been a little shy, but I was forthcoming. He just wasn't ready at the time. Would you agree?
I don't think you were ready.
Um, let me get a question.
both-
Let me go to the question on that one. Because I'm going to have my interpretation of things here. Okay, so let me go to the question.
I would say that we both had some growing to do in that area. But once we got over that hump and figured it out, we were able to kind of put the pieces of the puzzle together. She was right. She's right. We did spend a lot of time together. We were friends. We were really good friends. We still are. Sometimes. The thing that at that time, once we kind of established like where we were in our friendship, it became easier to be together and be around each other. So we remembered a lot of different things about one another. I remember the point in time thereafter we didn't talk for years. It was actually for years, and I still actually memorized. I knew all of our phone numbers in my head, and I called her. Like I called her one day out the blue, and she happened to be at work, and she's like, "Who is this on the phone?" I was like, "Oh, you don't remember my voice." And I started giving her a hard time and playing. She said, "Keep talking." So I just kept talking. Then she put it together, and from there, you know, it was like we just took off from there. We talked every day. We hung out. We spent time together. I think we met one Saturday for lunch. That was the first time we actually went out in years. Thereafter that lunch, it was we called a movie. Some movie that came out. Do you remember the name of the movie we went to see?
Wow. I don't remember.
It was in Centerville.
It wasn't
was in
Centerville, but I don't remember the name.
Yeah, so we went out to get Thai food.
Thai food.
Across from George Mason.
Yep.
And then went out to get Thai food at George Mason, and thereafter we went to a movie in Centerville. And I think within 2 weeks after that, we went to catch another movie. But from within that time period, we talked all the time.
We did. I was always pretty certain from the time that we met that we were going to be together. In fact, I told Tony that he was going to marry me.
That is the truth. That's funny. We are standing on campus at my dorm, and we were just talking, and she's like laughing, just giggling, and I'm like, what's so funny? Tell me what's so funny. She goes, boy, you're so stupid. And I'm like, oh, I'm stupid. And she was like, yes. I was like, why am I so stupid? She said, you're so stupid because you don't realize you're gonna marry me. And I looked at her and I was like, girl, get out of here, you're crazy. Like, I don't know what you're talking about, but that's the first thing in my mind. I'm not getting married anytime soon. And I don't know if I'm gonna marry you. I like you, but I don't know if I'm gonna marry you. So she's laughing. She's like, okay, I hear you. Sure enough, fast forward, 7 years later, 2 kids together. We're married.
I can always say that one of the things that was interesting about our relationship is that even though we weren't together and we were close friends, Tony always found himself in situations, but we could always come back. He could call me, I could call him, and we would always be there for each other. And that was comforting in knowing that, you know, even after years of not seeing each other, not, you know, talking, we could still pick up from where we left off after the fact. So yeah, here we are, going on 8 years this year. Time has flown by, but
It's not been not one dull moment.
not one dull moment. Not one dull moment.
So we have here, let's see. So I want to ask you a question.
You can ask me a question?
Yes.
Okay.
What was your best or worst vacation trip?
My best or worst vacation trip.
With me?
Well, of course, with you. Yes. I can't say that I've had a worse vacation trip. All of my vacations with you have been great. Um, we've always gone into them struggling a bit, but I think that being there kind of has allowed us to have our one-on-one time, which is not much of what we get anymore, because our time is not our time. And so I would say that I enjoy all of our trips together.
So you're saying we haven't had a worse vacation
I
trip?
can't say that we've had. I mean, you might disagree, but I can't say that I've had a worse vacation trip.
No, I don't think so. I'm not agree with you.
So, what was your best?
My best vacation trip with you? It comes in stages. Which stage? Are we talking the stage of dating and courting? Are we talking after being married?
Any stage.
I'd say there were two that were, I'm going to say best. They both symbolize different time periods, but they were really good vacations. So the first one was the cruise. We took a cruise. That was
our first big
trip. That was our first big trip. So I enjoyed that one. I think we had a good time there on our cruise. And the next one that is memorable, and I liked it a lot. We had a good time. I'd say it was Barbados.
Oh yeah, Barbados was nice.
Yeah, that was nice.
Barbados marked my 40th birthday. And so that was probably the first trip that we've had together since the kids.
Yeah.
Really.
5 years.
So yeah, it's been
5 or 6 years.
5 or 6 years. And we always said that once a year we would travel and sort of take a trip. But, when the kids come, that's a whole different story. Life has happened. So that was a really good time. Oh, this one was old. This one we already talked about. Tell the story. Oh, our engagement. I'm sorry. No, we didn't. Okay, so married, engaged couples. Tell the story of your engagement. Okay, the story of my engagement. It was Christmas. It was Christmas 2011. We were engaged for a year, really. And we had Christmas at my parents' house. And I remember all of us there. Me, you, my mom, my dad, Ariel, Antonio. And there was so much going on that day. But what stood out in my mind was when it came to opening gifts. And we were all opening gifts around the tree. And you had been missing in action for like a good 45 minutes.
Was it that long?
It seemed like that long. If it wasn't that long, it seemed like that long. But my mother was missing in action too. So I started to sort of question, like, what is going on here? I got Tony missing, my mom missing. I was like, what's happening? And I started to get impatient. I was like, okay, we're all opening gifts here. What's happening? Where's everybody? And I remember my siblings and my dad, they were kind of just all huddled around, kind of laughing, joking, smiling. And after a while, eventually, you and my mother returned from the basement, I believe. And I just remember you turning around, jumping on one knee, and asking me to marry you. And I was surprised, but not totally surprised, I can say, but I was pretty surprised. Um, the kids had done a good job of keeping the secret. So I wasn't tipped off on anything. I just was kind of like, "Are you sure? Is this what we really want to do?" And he asked me, "Was I sure?" I was sure. So that's what I remember about that day. And it might be kind of scattered pieces, but
No, I mean I think you hit pretty much everything. The kids did a good job of keeping it
yeah.
under wraps.
After Tony proposed, I finally got to hear the story of how he went to meet my dad a few days prior and talked to him at work and asked him if he could marry me. And I'm assuming he gave his blessing.
He did. He did.
So that was good to know. So I did get that story after the fact.
Yeah, your dad and I talked for a while that night
Mm-hmm.
while he was at work. I think we drove and walked like around his job and things like that. We were just talking life, marriage, things like that. And her dad is cool as a fan. He's a good guy. He's a real good guy. So like we talked, he just hung out a little bit, and he gave me his blessing. From there, it was off to the sunset with the rest of it. So.
Okay, let's do another one. Is it your turn?
I'll pick.
Oh, you go with that. Let me not pick your fate.
Is your relationship a tale of opposites attract or two peas in a pod?
I'm gonna let you answer that first.
D, all of the above. No. No. We're different but very similar in nature in a lot of different ways, but I'd say probably in the core values of how we were both raised. So it makes the marriage aspect of this a little easier. So as far as being like, are we opposites and do opposites attract? I don't know if that's really us, but I lean more towards being two peas in a pod based off of our life experiences, things that the way we believe, the way we handle situations, and the way we work together. Sometimes we don't feel like we agree at all every now and then, but for the most part, I'd say probably more like two peas in a pod and always growing. So that's more important, I think, probably to me, to make sure that we're always growing. We never become stale in what we do.
Good answer.
That's the right answer.
I don't know if I have a comeback for that.
There's no need for a comeback.
No need for a comeback.
Nah.
Let's see.
What do you think?
Two peas in a pod. Well, what was the other option?
Opposites attract.
Oh, opposites attract. I would agree that we're not particularly opposites. We have a lot of the same values, same beliefs, same ethics. I think what's normal and what's common is that you have differing opinions. And sometimes that can be a challenge because it can seem like opposites when it comes to making a decision or the next course of action. So I think that's where the compromising piece comes in. We're working on that.
Yeah, because I'm tired of doing everything you tell me to do.
You don't do that. You do. You definitely do not do everything I tell you to do. But yeah, we're working on more of you doing what I tell you to do because it's the right thing to do.
Imagine that. It's a good thing it's based off of friendship. Okay. So, where we are. We're still married.
I'm nervous.
You should be. I want it all. No, I'm just kidding. No, I think where we are, LaShawn and I, honestly, the way we started out is that we were friends, and everything we did was based off of friendship, and it was true friendship, and still is true friendship. Those are values that we try to instill in our children. Things we try to show them, take care of each other, respect one another, and love one another. That's what I've signed up for. That's what I believe she signed up for.
I didn't sign up for that.
That's cool.
I'm just playing.
I'm committed to it. So that statement about I want it all, I want it all. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. No. But 7 years. This will be our 8th year of marriage. We've been friends for 20.
Yeah.
20 years.
20 years.
So
Started out friends 20 years.
So we have this. We are the Whites.
We are the Whites. The White House.
The White House.
Thank you.
Thank you.